Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. 90 days into the crisis in Manipur, how does the church view the situation in the state? Both the Kuki and the Meitei have accused each other of demolishing churches and attacking Christians, and both have strenuously refuted the allegations. So what is the truth? And secondly, behind the facade of an ethnic clash between the Kuki and the Meitei, can we detect strains of religious intolerance? Is there a sense in which there is also a dimension of Hindu versus Christian struggle behind the ethnic clash? Again, this is contested. We don't have a clear idea, but it's an issue I should raise. Both these issues are being raised today with someone who has perhaps the clearest and most accurate sense of the answers. He is the Archbishop of Imphal, Archbishop Dominic Lumon, who joins us today from Archbishop's house in Imphal. Archbishop Lumon, despite my introduction, let me start a little differently. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of India issued a press release last week to say that you were part of a team that visited the conflict-ridden areas of Manipur. So can I start by asking you, what did you see and what impact did that have on you?
Yes, CBCI President and Deputy Secretary General visited Imphal, and I was part of the team that visited conflict-ridden places. We visited not everywhere, but particularly we visited these conflict-ridden places in Imphal and in Sugunu, and visited a relief camp at indoor stadium at Kukis and distributed relief items from the Caritas there. Earlier, I also visited places in Imphal, Imphal East, Kangpokpi, and Churachandpur. And impact of my visit to Sugunu is something quite shocking, different. I was shocked at the destruction and devastation that had been inflicted there. For instance, since St. Joseph's Higher Secondary School and parish was where I worked once as young priest, I was utterly shocked at the total destruction of school, church, students, boarding, presbytery, etc. And in and around Sugunu Township, hundreds of houses have been burned to ashes. The whole place looked deserted. The whole place had a deserted look because people have been driven.
In your press release issued by the CBCI, you also talk about the Holy Redeemer Church at Kanchipur and the Regional Pastoral Training Center and St. Paul's Parish at Sangaipuru. These two, I believe, were completely destroyed. For people outside Manipur, give me a sense of how important these are to Manipur and how big a loss this is.
Yes, Catholic Church suffered destruction in many places. But these places you mentioned were institutions, so to say, that catered to all communities. St. Joseph's Higher Secondary School and Parish Center is located 80 kilometers from Imphal. The Parish Center was established way back in 1964. At the time of the incident, the school had students from Meitei, Dhaka, Kuki-Meitei, Nepali, and other communities. In this center, we lost up to 11 standing structures, including newly inaugurated higher secondary school building, high school, primary school building, hostels for boys and girls, presbytery, and the church. It was hard work and investment of many, many decades.
So this was a loss for everyone in Manipur, for all communities. These may be Christian properties, but the loss and the impact will be felt by the full state. Did you hear me, sir?
Sir, I am hard of hearing, so can you please repeat the question?
Of course. I was saying that the properties that were destroyed, like St. Joseph's Higher Secondary School, like the Holy Redeemer Church at Kanchipur, these may be Christian properties, but the loss will be felt by all communities in Manipur.
Yes, because these institutions are serving not just the Catholic community, it serves all communities, and therefore the loss will be felt definitely by all communities. Yes.
Now, the Catholic bishops, the press release that was issued by the CBCI says, and I'm quoting, "We were worried as to what it is the actual situation facing and the future facing those who have fled from these places and the future of their children." I imagine that was the question in your mind when you visited the camps, where apparently 50 or 60,000 people have sought shelter. What impact did those camps have on you?
Now, there are many camps in different parts of Manipur, especially in Churachandpur, in Kangpokpi, Imphal East, Imphal West. Yes, I visited all the camps, but not all. There are many camps, as I said, but none of them is hosting to the tune of 50 to 60,000. Now, many homes, many people are also taking shelter with their relatives, their acquaintances. And now I would describe the misery in the camp. The misery in the camp, the visible inconveniences for a lack of amenities, privacy, etc., are very painful to see. Children loitering without education, infants and the elderly in the camps with such inconvenience is all disturbing. To think that they have been driven out from their homes and leaving everything they own, and as it were staring at future that is uncertain. These are the experiences when I visited the camps.
You must have been a very distressed person when you saw the destruction of church property and when you saw what you call the misery of people in camps. This must have deeply distressed you.
Very, very deeply distressing indeed. Yes.
Archbishop Lumon, let's come now to the state of churches, and I will first talk to you about Imphal and the situation in the Imphal Valley. In June, you told the Indian Express, and this was based on a report you had done and released on the 15th of June, that 249 churches had been destroyed, and you believe they were deliberately targeted because most people would not have known they were churches. In contrast to what you've said, the Meitei organization Kuki-Meitei, in a letter to the President of the European Parliament, says hundreds of churches belonging to 25 ethnic communities are still standing tall and performing their services in the heart of Meitei-dominated areas, including the capital city, Imphal. There's a big contrast between your report of June 15th and what Kuki-Meitei is claiming in July. Tell me, sir, what is the truth?
Now, it is true that churches are standing in Imphal belonging to different other ethnic groups, but not that of the Kuki-Meitei community. Now, these churches belonging to 249 churches destroyed belong to the Meitei churches, as we got the report, as we were informed. And these 249 churches that belong to Meitei Christians, number of are targeted. This does not include the churches that belong to Kuki-Meitei community.
Can I clarify? Please carry on. Please carry on.
Yep.
Carry on, sir.
I also told that some temples belonging to Meitei community have been destroyed in some places. So even though the conflict is not outrightly religious, some elements have conveniently made use of the moment to target churches and sacred places. I was only stating the fact that these churches belonging to Meitei Christians have been destroyed.
Just to be clear, you're saying, Archbishop, that the 249 churches in Imphal and the Imphal Valley, which you reported on 15th June had been destroyed, are mainly Kuki churches and Meitei churches. But churches belonging to other communities are still standing tall. Is that right?
Right. These 249 churches belong to Meitei Christians alone, as we were told from the beginning.
So the 249 churches are Meitei Christian churches entirely?
Churches, yes. Right. We were reported. It reported to us.
Not Kuki churches, but Meitei churches?
Not only Meitei churches.
Then let me ask you this question. Who destroyed these churches? Your report of the 15th of June says that they were destroyed in the first 36 hours. That would mean 3rd May, 4th May, 5th May. During that period, the Kukis were fleeing for their life. So clearly, they would not have had a chance or the opportunity to destroy churches. Your report suggests that it could be Arambai, Tenggol, and Meitei Leepun, although you don't explicitly blame them. But the finger your report suggests is pointing at them.
The fact that the mode of operation is a mob attack, I made a reference to that, not accusing them. It could be some other elements. That's all.
But if I understand you correctly, you don't accept that Kuki people destroyed the Meitei churches.
We have no report of Kukis destroying Meitei Christians. As a matter of fact, today in Churachandpur, Churchandpur area, 13 churches and 1 temple is still standing. And Kuki-Meitei churches are standing there. So the destruction that is placed, I don't think it is, we don't have a report that Kukis attacked these churches in the very instance. So we have no report. We are not certain that Kukis destroyed Meitei churches.
Okay, that is very clear, Archbishop Lumon. I will simply repeat that for the audience. We have no report, you said. We have no evidence. You said that the Kukis destroyed Meitei churches. Secondly,
right.
These churches were destroyed in the first 3 days of May when the Kuki were fleeing for their lives. Therefore, they would not have had time to destroy them. Thirdly, your report does not explicitly blame Arambai, Tenggol, and Meitei Leepun. You don't explicitly blame them, but you do suggest that they are involved in revivalism of their Hindu faith as well as Sanamahism, and therefore you seem to suggest that they could have had a role in the destruction of the churches.
Right. They could have, but we have no, again, direct evidence of these groups destroying the churches either.
Let's come to a second controversy, and a sense you hinted at it when in an earlier answer you said 13 Meitei churches in Churachandpur, which is the very heart of Kuki territory, are still standing. The second controversy is the claim made by many Meitei people that the Kukis have destroyed Meitei churches in the hill country. Professor Homen Thangjam, as well as Mr. Babu Verghese, in separate interviews have confirmed to me that at least 4 Meitei churches in the hill country have been destroyed. The Kuki, who I have interviewed, strenuously deny it, and now you've just said that 13 Meitei churches in Churachandpur are still standing. So what is the truth about this claim that the Kukis have destroyed Meitei churches in the hill country?
So again, Meitei, the Kukis destroying 4 specifically, 4, they seem to say 4 churches in the hill country have been destroyed. For that, we also don't have any evidence that they have destroyed it. Kukis have destroyed it.
Again, this is very important, Archbishop. As Archbishop Imphal, you're telling me that the claim that the Kukis have destroyed 4 churches, Meitei churches in the hill country, is something for which we have no evidence.
We have no evidence.
So this could be a false narrative.
Could be. And maybe also, but we have no evidence, because the evidence stands. Before evidence, there's no argument. So we don't have direct evidence.
But of one thing you are certain, that there are 13 Meitei churches still standing in Churachandpur, and Churachandpur is the heart of Kuki territory. For that, you have complete evidence.
Evidence, yes, because I have just inquired a few days back, and they have given in written that 13 churches and 1 temple stands. This is the report I get.
Thank you very much indeed, Archbishop Lumon. 13 churches and 1 temple stand. That's another very important addition. A temple stands.
Temple stands.
Let me come to something else. The Meitei Christian Churches Council issued a statement in Delhi on the 14th of July claiming 1.5 lakh Meitei Christians had been attacked by Kuki Christians. Separately, Kokomi, the Meitei organization, in a letter to the President of the European Parliament, claims Meitei Christians are being ethnically cleansed from Churachandpur, Saikol, and Kangpokpi districts. Again, the Kukis have told us this is a false narrative. It is not true. What light can you shed on these two allegations?
Now, Meitei community is predominantly Hindu. Kuki-Zhou community Christian. So when there's ethnic conflict, naturally Christians, Meiteis, Christians, non-Christians will flee from the places dominated by Kukis. Vice versa, Kukis will flee from, Kuki Christians will flee from Meitei-dominated areas. But that does not mean that Kukis were targeting Meitei Christians. That
you're saying, sir, that Meitei Christians and perhaps Meitei Hindus fled the hill country because they were scared, but that does not mean that the Kukis were targeting them.
right. That is what I say. Kukis are not specifically targeting Meitei Christians. This is ethnic. This is an ethnic conflict. Therefore, among the Meiteis driving Kukis out of their area. Kuki-dominated area, Meiteis were driven out. So it is an ethnic conflict, and in this ethnic conflict, Meitei Christians may be there, but it does not mean that Kukis are specifically driving out Meitei Christians, attacking Meitei Christians.
It also follows, Archbishop Lumon, from your answer, that the claim made by Kokomi to the President of the European Parliament that Meitei Christians are being ethnically cleansed from Churachandpur, Saikul, and Kangpokpi, that claim is not true.
It is the ethnic cleansing. So, not Meitei Christians specifically. So while Meiteis are driven out, there may be Christians, but as I said, Christians, particularly Christians, are not driven out, attacked specifically by the Kukis.
In other words, the Meitei are being driven out of the hill country because they are Meitei, not because they are Christian.
Right. That's what I want.
Archbishop Lumon, let me come to a third controversy that I would like you to clarify and clear for the audience. There seems to be confusion between what you said in your report of June the 20th, when you talked about 249 Meitei churches being destroyed, and your belief that the Kukis could not have destroyed them, and the suggestion or the assumption that perhaps Arambai, Tenggol, or Meitei Leepun were responsible. And what Cardinal Oswald has said in a video message just about a week ago. Let me clarify for the audience why there is confusion between what you said and what Cardinal Oswald said. You said, and I'm quoting, in the midst of ethnic conflict between the Meitei and Kukis, the undercurrent of religious intolerance stands out. And that you have borne out when you clarified that the Kukis could not have destroyed the Meitei churches. The likelihood is other people did it, and you can't rule out the possibility that Arambai, Tenggol, and Leepun did it. And they are clearly Hindu organizations. In contrast, Cardinal Oswald, the Archbishop of Bombay, in his video statement said that Manipur does not have any element of a religious feud. It is only an inter-tribal conflict. And people say, are the two of you contradicting each other? Because you're saying different things.
Now, Cardinal is clear when he says it is not religious uh, uh, conflict as such. It is not, I also would say, it is not religious conflict. It is between Meitei majority and Kuki-Jau minority. But what I was saying is that while it is a non-religious conflict, it's an ethnic conflict, certain elements might have crept, taken advantage. I would like to narrate this. Kanchipur, which is in Imphal, Shanghai Prau, St. Paul's is in. This serves all communities. It is not belonging to Zhao community, Kuki Zhao community. It belongs to the Catholic Church, and it serves all communities. Why was these centers, which is serving all people, which doesn't belong to Kuki Zhao community, targeted? So in that way, I have my suspicion that certain elements have taken advantage of this Meitei Kuki conflict to destroy some of our institutions which are not Kukis, but serves neutral body that serves all communities.
Just to be clear, when you say certain elements have taken advantage of a Kuki-Meitei conflict to destroy churches, you're hinting at organizations like Arambai, Tenggol, and Meitei Leepun. We talked about them earlier, but you're clearly hinting at them here again.
See, the fact that this mob comes to destroy once, but 3 times. They come, another group comes, destroy, then another group comes to destroy, then after some time, another group destroys. So that gives us a clue that some people are directly against us. Multiple attempts are made to destroy our center totally. That brings to us a doubt that certain elements are there.
So you stand by what you said in your report of 15th June, I'm quoting it, the undercurrent of religious intolerance stands out. You stand by that.
Because of these evidences, I stand by. Yeah.
But Cardinal Oswald did not say anything like that in his video statement, did he?
Okay. Cardinal did not have first-hand information. Therefore, he is summarily saying he is correct that it is not religious conflict per se. It is not, it's ethnic conflict. That's what he said.
But you put it very delicately and very diplomatically. The Cardinal did not have first-hand information. In other words, he was speaking without personal knowledge. He hasn't visited Imphal or Manipur. He was relying upon what others have told him, which is why what he said is significantly different to what you said. You know what you're talking about. He's going on hearsay.
No. Perhaps that it is that.
One other thing, Archbishop Lumon, the RSS magazine organizer has used Cardinal Oswald's statement to insist There is no religious color to what's happening in Manipur. Has the cardinal, no doubt accidentally and unintentionally, but has he ended up playing into the RSS's hands?
Well, I have nothing to comment on that. I don't have to comment on that.
One last question. Should the cardinal, who does not have personal knowledge and has not visited Imphal and Manipur, should he have made that statement? Or was it a mistake to speak out when he doesn't have personal, detailed knowledge of the situation?
Well, again, he on his own right takes the entire scenario that it is not religious conflict, that it is an ethnic conflict. He is right in his own way. And that is true. It is not religious. But on the ground, what happened to within 36 hours, certain things that took place indicated religious intolerance element. That is what that's what I say.
One question more about this. During those first 36 hours, when 249 Meitei churches were destroyed in the valley and in Imphal, which clearly could not have been done by the Kuki because they were fleeing for their lives, and you suspect it was the work of Arambai, Tenggol, and Meitei Leepun, do you also suspect that Hindutva elements were involved?
So, if one has this religious conflict, those who perpetrate this will know that they themselves will know it is, but we will not be able to pinpoint it is they, it is he, it is she. That's all.
In other words, one has suspicions, but one cannot pinpoint by name.
Which suspicion is there, one cannot pinpoint.
My last question, Archbishop Lumon. The Catholic Bishops' Conference press release ends by saying, and I'm quoting, "We are worried about the prolonged silence and apathy of the law enforcement agencies in containing the violence." What did you mean by the word apathy? Are you alluding to incompetence? Or are the law enforcement agencies simply standing by and doing nothing?
The unprecedented unrest and violence started on May 3rd, 2023, and is still going on almost 3 months. Now, 3 months going to be. The situation is worrisome. Uncertainty looms large till date, and no end is in sight. Citizens of a given nation have expectations on the government of the day to restore normalcy. In this situation, the government of the day has not been able to bring about normalcy and peace. In that sense, given their responsibility, their inaction, the uncertainty experienced by the people amounts to something like apathy from the government. I would not like to comment on who and how they should do. Those at the helm of affairs know it. No citizen should be subjected to insecurity when there is government in place.
So the law enforcement agencies have let down the people of Manipur?
It is. We can say it is.
They failed to do their duty.
They failed to do their duty.
My last question, Archbishop Lumon. You are Archbishop of Imphal. That means you are the shepherd and the people of the state are your flock. At this moment of virtual warfare, of violence, of arson, of killing. What is your message to your people?
My message is my message of peace. Peace is needed. I have appealed for peace and prayers. Again, I appeal for peace to all my beloved people of Manipur and appeal to them to return to the path of peace. I beg the warring communities to stop violence. I appeal for mutual love, respect, forgiveness, and reconciliation. The loss inflicted has been grave. So it will be difficult to rebuild trust and mutual confidence, but we must try nonetheless. I appeal to peacemakers to intervene in whatever capacity they can. I also appeal to state and central government to restore peace and tranquility, without which confidence and trust will not be possible. Finally, I personally assure the people of Manipur my prayers and blessings.
Archbishop Lumon, thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me. More than that, thank you very much for clarifying the controversies about whether the Kuki or the Meitei have been demolishing each other's churches, the concern about whether religious intolerance behind the cover of ethnic conflict is manifesting itself. These are issues that people did not have clarity about. You have given us clarity as Archbishop of Imphal, and I am deeply grateful to you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch The Interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.